What's up, everyone? It's iCurlyK here, and today I want to discuss how to navigate our way through TradingView, which is a charting platform that also allows you to screen and backtest your strategy as well. But I just want to show you all of the functionalities of TradingView itself. So as you can see here, I'm using the Pro Plus plan. Say that 3 times fast. But I do not want you to think that you automatically have to go out and buy that particular plan. I will show you a few things that can help you get some of the features for free 99. So let's get right into the charting platform itself. So again, as you can see, I'm using the Pro Plus plan. I'm going to go ahead and look at a chart really quickly. Let's see. Let's look at this one. All right, so at the very top, this is where you would actually go to put in your symbol search or your ticker search, right? And as you can see here as well, you can do it based on the security itself. So if you want to look at stocks or funds or future forex, so on and so forth, this is where you would actually go to look at the security that you are, interested in trading. So also, right to the right of that is going to be your time frames. So what I like to tell all of the traders that I work with is that if there is a particular time frame that you like, please go ahead and put a star next to it, because what it's going to do is it's going to put all of those time frames at the very top of your chart like this. So you don't have to go and search for them every single time that you want to, filter through a different time frame. Also, if there is a customized time frame that you want to look at as well. So for example, if I wanted to look at maybe the 3-week chart, I would just go down here and put in that criteria and add it, and then put a star next to it so that it can automatically populate it at the top of my chart. So moving right along, this is going to be how you actually view the candlesticks on your chart. Some people like to look at hollow candles, and so you would actually click on that. Or if you're someone who likes to look at it, the standard way, which is the bars, or if you want to look at step lines and things of that nature, this is where you would actually go to do that. But for me, I like to look at candles itself. I don't really like to look at the step ladders or anything like that. I just want to look at the candles filled in, so I would put it right there. Now, here is where you would go to view your various indicators. So if there's any particular indicator that you like to use, so for example, let's see, if you're someone who likes to look at, for example, the stochastics, right? You would just come over here, type it in. It'll automatically populate. As you can see, I only typed in STO and it pulled, everything that starts with that up. And then I can put a star next to it. And so what would happen is I can hit this little drop down, and every indicator that I like would automatically populate over here. It keeps me from having to go and search for those things. All right, so immediately to the right of that is going to be where you can actually save your templates. So let's just say I had a series of things on my chart that I like to use together. So I'm going to put, let's just put the EMAs as well as the Bollinger Bands on my chart. And I'm just going to move us down to a lower time frame so you can actually see that they did populate on my chart. And then I'm also going to put on my chart, let's just see here. I'm going to put the TTM squeeze just so that you can see what happens. So if I like this particular setup, I can go over here and I can save the indicator template. Now, the reason why you would do that is because sometimes you like to use a certain set of indicators together, and you want to make sure that you don't have to go through every individual one when you're wanting to use that set template itself. So you can actually save that and navigate through various templates, because you don't use the same indicators on the same charts every single time. So this way you can make it easier on yourself and be able to filter through that. Now, right here, this is where you would actually go when you're wanting to create alerts for your chart. So for example, let me just get this stuff off of my chart. And actually, I could have done it this way. I could have went over here and hid all of the drawings, hide all of the indicators. I'm going to get to that as well, but just letting you know, there is a simpler way to do it. So for example, if I wanted to, let's reset our chart and bring our candles back into view. Let's pull this up just a little bit. All right, and let's just expand this. All right, so for example, if I'm using this particular horizontal ray right here, and I wanted to set an alert on it, I can actually right click and then add an alert on the horizontal ray. Now, I personally like to use once per bar because if you use only once, then what'll happen is if it wicks through that particular level one time, that alert gets knocked off of your chart, and that may not be the signal for you to jump in just yet, so you don't want to miss it. So I like to do once per bar, which means every time a bar wicks through that particular level until I think that the trade is worthy of taking, then I can actually select that one. It will alert me, to pay attention to it. And then I also like to type in little things in the notes to tell me exactly what position that I want to get into. So for example, we're looking at Roku. So if I wanted to say $80 call, and obviously that would basically mean if we break above this particular level, then let me know. So what I would do is I would put cross up or cross down, because if it's for calls, obviously you want it to cross above that level. And if it's for puts, you obviously want it to cross below that level. So you would just kind of put that information in here and then press create. And what'll happen is you'll see a little alarm clock on your chart, and that'll basically let you know that your alert is set. So I love that feature. The next feature at the top of my chart, I'm just going to remove this off of here for now. Remove the drawing. And so the next feature on my chart that I am very impressed with and I absolutely love is the ability to be able to back test your strategies by actually doing bar replay, which is pretty cool. And it is this little function right here. So you would just click on it. And then what'll happen is you'll see this line right here, right? And you can actually pull it over to the amount of data that you want to erase. And it'll also give you like a time in which, the feature gets played back. So for example, let's see, let me just pull up a little bit of information. You all may not be able to see it, but I can, it's all over my chart. So as you can see here, it has a 0.3, right? A 0.3x. So that basically means that once you press play, it's going to move those candles in that particular speed. And if you want to adjust the playback speed, you can do it here. If you want it to move a little bit faster, you can actually click on that. And as you see, it's moving a whole lot faster. So I like to use this whenever I'm just back testing my strategies just to see, hey, if I were to do, my charting this way, would that have worked out for me? I am a proponent of back testing your charts, okay? Back testing your charting. Now, also, you get to have a lot of different types of layouts. So with this being the case, for example, if you want to see multiple charts at one time, you can actually click here and it'll split your screen into half. Now, there's another really cool thing about this as well. And that is you can look at two different tickers at one time. You can look at different intervals of time at one time. And so, for example, if I wanted to look at Roku and I wanted to look at it against Netflix, I can actually just select that particular feature and then type in Netflix up here. And as you can see, I have Netflix on one side. And actually, let me just double click because I don't think that it actually took that. So let's just fix that really quickly. All right, so symbol right here. All right, great. So as you can see, I have Netflix over here on one side, and then I can put Roku on the other side. And obviously they are sympathy to each other, so that may be a very good thing for me to look at. And so I want to have those charts side by side. So that's something that you can do. You can actually go in and look at various time frames. You can look at different tickers, and that's where you would go to do that. Now, I'm going to skip past this stuff. Your chart settings is basically like if you want to change the colors or if you want to change the way you view the certain indicators or features on your chart, you can come in here and play around with those things. So this one is pretty simple. Another one that I really, really like is just to automatically expand your chart. And you would click there. And obviously, if you wanted to just get out of that, okay, you can press escape. I don't play around with that one that much. A lot of times I'll show you what I like to do, which is why I kind of fumbled with that. So let me show you. We'll go back to one chart. So a lot of times what I like to do is I just simply like to double click on my chart if I want to get it to expand. But this is if you want to go into full screen mode, obviously. So you can just press escape so that you don't fumble like I did. And then the next thing is if you're someone like me who likes to share charts because I am a trading provider within a Discord, I don't necessarily like when people take pictures on their phones, like, screenshot their phone and then put it into the community. One, because it's very, very blurry when you do that. It takes up a lot of space and it's not as clean. So if you want to share your chart, you can literally come over here and click this particular camera button and then copy the image or copy the link, and then you can throw it wherever you want to throw it. All right, so moving right along, we're going to go ahead and go over to the left-hand side of our chart. Now, this is where you get all of those amazing tools and indicators that you can actually use to play around with. Now, with everything on the TradingView chart, whenever you see the option to put a star next to something and it's something that you use frequently, please do it. A lot of times I get asked, how do I get this little cool toolbox that you see right here? Well, it's very simple. If it's something that I enjoy using, all I have to do is go in here and, for example, I'm going to click on this star right here. And as you can see, it populated it over here. I'm going to do that one more time. I'm going to remove it just so that for those of you who missed it, and I'm going to do it again. If I click on this star, now it's a part of my toolbox that I use all the time. And so instead of me having to go over here and pull out certain things, I automatically have it, populated on this little hot box. Okay. So now let's just move over and let's go down. So here is a tool that I really, really like. I love the Fibonacci retracement tool. I'm going to teach you something as well. So there are going to be times where there's indicators or drawing tools where you may not need the entire function of that tool. So what you can do is when you select it, right, you can actually come over here and hit the little drop down. Now, let me navigate you through this as well. Anything on your chart that has an eye on it means to hide the view. So if it's something that you don't want to see in that moment, you can actually click on it to hide the view. And let me just X out of this because I do see that I have two on the chart. Now, your settings icon, this is where you can go in and change things like the visibility of it or the style of it or the parameters that it's set on. So if you want to, for example, see the volume at 20 or 30, you can come in and adjust the inputs. We're under VWAP right now, and so I'll just show you the style. So for example, if I wanted to change the color of my VWAP, I can do it here. I can change the thickness of the lines. So basically how prominent it stands out on my chart, or I can even change it to maybe a line if I wanted to, but I have mine set on stars. The reason why is because I want to be able to identify it from my other indicators that look similar on the chart by default. So with that being the case, if you ever want to change something, that's what you would do. So again, the I means to hide. The settings allow you to change your lines and, the way that it's presented on your chart, the thickness, even the visibility of it, the opacity of it. You can do all of that here. When you go over to the right, this is basically going to get you into the code. So if you're someone who likes coding, this is where you would see how that particular indicator or feature is coded. Obviously, the X means to delete it off of your chart. And then if you want to click on this right here, this will give you the breakdown of what the indicator is for and how it's used. So you can literally click on more and it will show you how to do that. All right. So now, when it comes to for example, the Fibonacci retracement tool, which is something that I was just about to get into. So for example, if I wanted to, let's see here, check out the 50% mark, right? So this is something that I like to use. And a lot of people wonder, how did you get the 50% retracement on your chart? So when it comes to the Fibonacci tool, it does have a lot of different levels, right? We automatically know that it has a lot of different levels. Well, what I did was once I placed it on my chart, I literally just right-clicked on it and everything that I didn't want to see, I removed it. And as you can see, I removed quite a lot, right? And I only kept the 50% mark on there. So you can also go in and alter and edit those things as well. And so that's where you would go to do that. Now, everything over here is pretty standard, right? You have various drawing tools. I don't really need to get into all of those, but this is where you would go to see those things. And again, if it's something that you use quite often, just put a star next to it and it'll be in this little hot box. So the next thing that I like to use is actually going to be the measuring tool. I love, love, love this feature because it allows me to measure things like gap fill so that I can know how many dollars or how many cents or the range of that particular gap. So for example, what I like to do is click on the gap where it started or where it ended and just kind of click and then drag to the point at which I'm trying to see how wide that range is. And as you can see here, it tells me that that is a $2.81 gap, right? And so the next thing that I like to do as well with this feature is if I want to see the range of a candle for the day, I can actually do something like this, and I can go from the top to the bottom or the bottom to the top of the candle, and it'll let me know the range of that candle as well. It also tells you the volume for that particular time frame. Pretty amazing feature. Now, another thing that I like to do is use this particular magnifying tool. It'll help you to zoom in and zoom out. If you just want to look at, a small range of data, you can actually click and hover over those particular candles, kind of drag it over, and it'll expand that particular feature. And if you want to zoom out, you can just hit that particular, magnifying glass that has the minus sign on it. Now, right below that is going to be your magnet. This is extremely important to me because I am primarily a strat trader, but even if it wasn't, when I was using support and resistance very heavily, which I still do very heavily use support and resistance, I like to click on the magnet. Now, this part is very important. When you turn this magnet on, please turn it on to strong magnet, because what it'll do, for example, I'm going to click on this horizontal line. And actually, let me show it to you without it. So I'll just turn it off. Right? So I used to be the person that was dragging lines and like, oh my gosh, I have to get it there right exactly, and I'm manually having to do this. Well, turning on this particular magnet helps you to not have to do that. It allows you to snap your indicator to the open, high, the low, or the close very simply. So if I wanted to mark out the bottom of this candle, it'll automatically snap it there. If I wanted to put it on the high of this candle, it automatically snaps it there. The reason why that is so important is because if you're a strat trader, maybe your indicator is 449.68, and that's your entry to get into either a call or a put. But if you're doing it manually, what if you missed it by a few cents? What if you put it at 449.65 or something like that? Your entry is essentially off, right? And other traders will notice that. So if you want to avoid that particular problem and make sure that you're accurate with your entries and your exits, just make sure that you turn that magnet on to strong magnet. So let's go ahead and remove that off of the chart. Now, right below that is going to be the drawing mode tool. I love this because instead of me constantly having to come here and snap it there and then come here and constantly go back to my toolbox, what I can actually do, let's remove everything off of the chart again. What I can actually do is click on this little stay in drawing mode. And what it'll do is it'll allow me to just constantly be able to, put those drawings on my chart without any problems. So I'm going to go ahead and remove all 6 of those drawings. And then I'm going to take myself out of drawing mode as well. And the one thing that you'll learn about the drawing mode is that when you turn it off, so when you click off of this, if you click on your chart one more time, it's still going to put another drawing on there, and then it'll knock it off. Now, this lock tool is going to be, for example, if I put this on my chart, and let's just say I scrolled up on my chart and accidentally grabbed that, what the drawing or the lock mode would actually do is it's going to lock that feature in place. So even if I did accidentally come here and like try to move my chart, it won't move that indicator. So that's what that's for. And obviously the eye is to hide. Remember, the eye hides every single thing on your chart. So this one actually allows you to hide certain things. So maybe you want to hide your drawings, or I'll show you how to hide your indicators. You see what I mean? So that's what that drawing tool is actually for. So I'm going to put the indicators back on there. That way you don't have to delete anything. And if you just want to see pure price action, that's where you would go to do that. Now, this particular feature is one that I absolutely love, and I'll show you what it is. So it syncs your drawings into your layout, or it syncs it globally. So I'll show you what that means. So let's just go ahead and remove this. So if you want your drawings to be across the board on your charts, you can actually use that particular feature and it'll do that for you. So you don't have to constantly add those things as you go along. It'll automatically be there for you. And then let's talk about the indicators before I move over to the right-hand side of the chart, which is why this actually comes into play as well. Very, very amazing function. So if I wanted to, for example, Let's just scroll over here. And matter of fact, let me go back to the daily time frame so I don't have such a hard time getting exactly what I want. So for example, if I wanted to not have to do so much hard work, I'm actually going to put this back on like the standard drawing. Let's see. All right. And I'm going to make this just a line itself, right? Instead of the dotted line. So if I wanted to have a template already made for myself, what I can do is I can come over here, put the indicator on your chart, right? So just go ahead and take the one that you want to use. And then once it's on your chart, you can right click, you can go into settings, and then you can actually put a text on it. So for example, since you're on the daily time frame, if I wanted to say something like, this is my daily entry for calls, right? I can change the colors. I like to put green. So I'm just going to go here and just choose a green. And then I want to go over here, and I'm actually going to copy this so that I don't have to type it again. Also, before I do that, this will align it for you. Either this text will be in the middle of the line. You can put it at the top or the bottom of the line. You can put it to the left or the right or even the center. So for the sake of this, I'm just going to put it on the left. And as you can see, it moved over. I'm going to show you again. If I put it at the center, it'll move to the middle. And then the text alignment at the top, you see how it puts it at the top or puts it at the bottom, but I'm just going to put it in the middle, right? And I'm going to put it back on the left. So that's how you would actually do that. Actually, you come over here to template, you can put save as, and then I can just type daily entry calls. What will happen is, and I think I have that on my chart already, so I don't want to confuse myself. So I'm just going to put daily entry test, okay, so that you all can see it. And we're going to put it in green. Don't know how that kind of messed it up. All right, cool. So I'm going to erase this and I'm going to show you the purpose of me doing that. So I'll put the line on the chart. You would actually come here to this little box, right? That you see my cursor hovering over. If I were to click on this, it'll have all of my templates already there. And so what I want to do is I just want to select daily entry test, and I don't have to type it every single time. The great thing about that is you can put this on any of your tools. So if I wanted to use this for, like, for example, let's say a broadening formation, I'm just going to draw out the bottom, right, of a small broadening formation. If I were to right click on it, go to settings, I can do the same thing. I can type in test there. I can go over to template, save as. And for example, if this was like the bottom of a daily broadening formation, I can put broadening formation daily, right? And I can have that template on there and it'll easily help me out so that I don't have to type it all the time. It'll help me to identify, whether it's a daily broadening formation versus a weekly broadening formation. And it'll literally put that note on the chart so that you can see it. So I absolutely love that. So please, you all, so that you do not end up with carpal tunnel like me, please do that so you're not typing out the entry for calls or entry for, puts or the 4 hour or the day, whatever the case, that's where you would go to do that. All right, so then on the right-hand side of your chart, you have your object tree. So the object tree is actually going to do things for you, like allow you to hide certain indicators as well. Put your templates over here. This is where you would actually go if you want to turn off certain things or turn on certain things. So as you can see, there's a lot of places where you can go to do that. So if I wanted to hide it from the right-hand side versus using this little drop down that I showed you before, I can actually do it over here as well. Pretty amazing tool. Now, this right here, I do not know what it is. I do not use it, so I cannot educate you with that. This is going to be your order panel. So if you have certain indicators on your chart, and you wanted to, let's say down here I had the ATR, I can actually move the order at which I view these things. If I wanted this indicator down here to be at the bottom of, at the top of my chart, I can actually do it from here, or I can click on the move pane up and it'll move it up or move it down. I kind of like to do it from this part. It makes it a lot easier for me. Now, right here, this is where you would go if, you got a notification that someone is following you, right? Because people can follow you within your TradingView platform. I don't really give my name out on TradingView, so I don't have a whole lot of followers when it comes to TradingView. And then this is where you would go to listen to any streams. This is any ideas that other traders may have. This is the chat where you can talk to people. I don't really talk to people. My life is the Discord, which is why I don't give out my TradingView name. But if you know me, you probably know what it is already. And then these are little things that you can type, like what's on your mind or what are on other traders' minds. Up here, this is your idea. So if you have an idea for a particular ticker, you can type it and you can have it right there. So you don't forget, like, hey, I was thinking about getting into this particular trade once it crosses here. This is your calendar. This is your hot list. This is your data window. A lot of these things I don't really use, I'll be honest with you. And then this one I do. So the alerts is one that I absolutely use, because let's say that I'm busy, or if I heard, an alert go off and I'm in a totally different room, or if I open up my platform and I notice that there was an alert that triggered that may have triggered and I wasn't paying attention, I can literally come here and it'll tell me all of the alerts that actually triggered, so that I can have it in one cool place. And then this is going to pop out your details to your ticker. It's also going to pop out your watch list. It's going to pop out, the all of the details about the security that you're looking at. So for example, if I wanted to see the range of the day for Netflix, the lowest point to the highest point that it went to, it'll show it to me here. Obviously, you see I have the pre-market information, like how the stock is actually doing itself. This is the 52-week high and low. So the highest that it's been within 52 weeks, as well as the lowest that it's been within 52 weeks. You get any type of news. This is something that I absolutely love, because you can click on the ticker itself. And if there's any news that just came out about it, you'll see it right here as well. This lets you know the volume, the average volume, and it says average 10, which basically means the last 10 periods. Typically, when you're looking at this, it's always talking about the day. So this is the average volume for the last 10 days, right? Tells you the market cap. It lets you know whether or not they pay dividends. It gives you the earnings calendar, and then you get to see this really cool function that shows you whether or not they beat earnings or miss earnings, or if they were on target for earnings. It also tells you, if you hover over it, the next earnings. So for example, this hasn't happened yet, which is why you don't see a color on it. So if I hover over it, it'll literally tell me when the next earnings is expected to be, which obviously Netflix, the 19th, right? Which is today. It tells you it doesn't pay dividends. It gives you a lot of things to look at for the quarter, how it's performed. And then, it's an amazing tool that you can actually use. Now, when it comes to creating your watch list, you would actually come over here. You can hit this little drop down, and then you can create a new list. I like to, and I'll show it to you, something that I really like to do. So I like to put little breaks and columns in there so I can look at the indexes, the futures, and various sections, right? So the way that you do that is you can actually go over here and you can add a section. So for example, with this, it allows you to put breaks and columns, which I need to do it for my heavy hitters watch list. So if I am looking for different sectors, right, I can actually title those things. And the way that you do it is you go right here to where you see these little dots, and then you can add a section, and then you can type. So if you're looking at XLK or XLY, or if you're looking at the futures, or if you're into crypto, whatever the case may be, you can actually come here and you can type whatever sector of the market it is, or however you want to title it, you can do it there. That way, for example, if I'm looking at a certain sector and I see that it's performing really, really, really well, like for example, if I'm looking at tech, then I can go here and I can go pull out all of my tech related stocks and make sure that I focus only in that particular sector if I want to. This little thing right here is just showing you how your chart is split up, like how many tickers you have and how it's split up based on the weight of the tickers that you have within your watch list. So I really like that. You also get to share your watch list, which is pretty cool. So if I wanted to send my watch list to anyone, I can literally click on this to copy the link, and I can put it out there into, the atmosphere, let people see these are the things that I have on my watch list. And you can make someone else's life easier just by doing those things, right? And then obviously you can change your view. So if you don't want to see all of this stuff, you can literally put it on the things that you want to see. If you want to see just the logo and the ticker, if you want to see, the last price, the change or the change percent, the extended hours, you can do all of that right here. So I just want to really quickly scan over my chart and see if there's anything that I missed. I don't think that there's anything that I missed. Oh, there is something that I missed. So I know that a lot of traders think that when you start trading that you have to go out and you have to pay for all of these various screeners and scanners and platforms. Well, there is a way to bypass that. And I believe with TradingView, you get 3 to 5. Don't quote me on that. I believe it's no more than 5 indicators for free without actually having to sign up. But the more indicators that you put on your chart, you actually have to pay for that. So there are traders like myself who actually put together scripts. So let's go back over here to our indicators and let's look at it. So for example, if you're someone who uses, the EMAs and you use Bollinger Bands, well, as you can see here at the very top, I have 4 different EMAs. So if they only give you 5, you've already exhausted 4 of them with just using these 4 EMAs, right? And then if you add the Bollinger Bands on it, that's your 5th indicator. So you're wiped out. Well, if you go in here and you type in, for example, if you use the RSI and VWAP together. So let me just do that. So if you are someone who likes to use the RSI and VWAP together, just go in here and type the things that you normally use together. You may actually find a script for it so that you don't have to exhaust all of your indicators. And this will literally count as one indicator. So you may be able to get away with it for free. You know what I mean? So that's basically what I'm saying. You may not have to upgrade. But when you get further along in your journey, there are reasons why you may want to upgrade because you get more, features and things along with your subscription. But starting out until you get your legs under you, I don't really recommend that you go down the rabbit hole purchasing everything. There is another thing that I want to show you as well. I do believe that a lot of traders kind of get confused when it comes to the time frames at the bottom of your chart versus the time frames at the top of your chart. So this is actually going to show you your intervals of time. So basically what I mean is if I wanted to look at a 5 years worth of weekly candles, come down here and select the 5-year mark, right? So what's going to happen is at the top of my chart, depending on the time that I select at the top, it's going to give me 5 years worth of weekly candles. If I wanted 5 years worth of daily candles, you see what I'm saying? I would just click on it there. If I wanted to get a year's worth of daily candles, I would click year to date, right? And it'll only show me a year's worth. So this down here gives you the range of time that you can actually view. And at the top, it shows you the time frame that you want to navigate through or the time frame that you want to specifically look at. So I hope that helps because a lot of people do get that confused. Also, right here, this is going to show you your open, high, low, and close. So if you're hovering over a candle, it's basically going to show you where that candle opened, the high of the candle, the low, the close. It's going to also give you the percentage that it moved within that day, as well as the dollar amount. So that will make your life a lot easier too. So you literally can hover over and it'll tell you the open, high, low, close, the percentage, as well as the dollar amount. So if you don't want to use the measuring tool to look at the range of the candles, you don't have to because it'll actually show it to you here as well. So there are a lot of great things that you can do within this particular platform. So I hope that it helps. If you like this video, you already know what to do. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I know it was a long one, but navigating TradingView is something that trips up a lot of people, and I just don't want that for you. All right. So I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.